Well, hello investors and traders, it's LA. This is the third part of finding a trade. We've covered two parts already. We read or hear something that triggers a trade idea and we pursue it. In others, we look at the sectors, and if you remember, there we come in, we go into the sector trends, and we drill down on a sector, and we look at these sectors and decide, what's in them and which one's best. But today we're going to do something a little bit different, and that is we're going to take and drill down to these sectors and find the weakest and strongest stocks inside them. And if you like what you see, please hit the subscribe and like buttons. Now remember, it always depends on what the market's rewarding, right? There's only two types of trade. There's breakouts and there's retraces. If we look at a chart, you can see both examples here. Here's a swing point high. This little arrow is telling you it broke out, so this got over the top, right? And now it's actually doing a retrace. Most of the time, the vast majority of the time, that's exactly what happens. And so it's retraces you want to buy, not breakouts. But there are cases where you want to buy breakouts, and we're going to look at that today as well. And finally, it depends on your time frame. We were looking at a monthly chart just then. We don't want to trade a daily on a monthly. We want to use the appropriate time frame. So let's get to it. There's a number of tools here on TA today, and today what we're going to do to drill down is we're just going to use Stock Monitor. So once we get into Stock Monitor here, we can see that it's going to give us anything that has to do with one of the two types of trades, a breakout or a retrace. And so it will give us potential breakouts, both bullish and bearish, and it will do the same thing for actual ones, as well as it will give us some previous ones that have happened. Now, if I click on this, I can pull up any Stock Monitor. Allows you to filter down to any particular watch list that you have. And so I happen to have the stocks up. I think that's a good sector right now. It's a strong sector, as we have indicated in the prior video. And if I come into here, I can actually click on any of these symbols that are here and see what kind of signals that were generated for that particular stock for the prior session. And the session may be a weekly, it may be a short-term time frame, a daily. This one's short-term. Here's an intermediate-term time frame. And we can see that these have to be bullish breakouts. And so we interested in breakouts right now because the market seems to be recording that to some extent. We can pop in here and look at this and see what it looks like. So if I pop in, of course, it's going to give me all three time frames of ABCDs as well as the trading cube. Here we can see that this is young bullish on all time frames. Same thing pretty much on the stocks itself, so that's all a good signal. And if we look at the daily, then the weekly, the monthly, we can see a breakout that just took place last week over this swing point high on the daily. We can see the same sort of thing that's taking place previously on the weekly, but yet there's some more work to be done up at the highs, and that sets resistance, as you see back over here on the daily. And then on the monthly, it's actually it's broken out. Right, retraced, and it's trying to regenerate higher. So this is a good looking stock. I mean, this is set up really nicely. The only thing you have to worry about is, can it extend on up and get over these highs. Now, it had good volume when it did it before, and so I think this is a good looking stock. There's nothing wrong with the way this thing looks. You're catching a retrace, and you're trying to ride that retrace on higher. Next one happens to be AMD, and here's a breakout on this. Nice extension on the next bar. Let's see what the volumes look like. Nice build up on volumes as we were making this run. Breaks out here. Got more resistance right above it here, right? And so I would think that as this targets into that resistance zone that you see with the red here, that's going to have some trouble. And if we look at it on the monthly, you've got a swing point high there. It's trying to get over. So, and you got some big volume bars right in that area as well. So AMD doesn't look like something I'd probably jump on a breakout either, because it doesn't have a clean shot to go higher. If we go down and find one like that, and let's pick AVGO because I know this one's really strong. Here's a breakout, nice extension, right? Decent volume buildup. I mean, we're not about huge, but decent. But look at all these swing points that got broke on the pop. Right? You got a pop here, another pop there. It's just this slingshot higher. If we look at it on the weekly, you can see here it's popped over both the swing point that was way back over here, right, as well as this one here gets over both of them, gets nice extension as a result. And finally, if I go over to the monthly, look at the monthly. This one's trying to break out over all the highs. Folks, this is the sort of breakout I would be interested in. It has no left side resistance left, right, on any of the charts other than the monthly, which is trying to break out now. You can actually look at the number 677, we're at 682, so we're actually over it. Of course, the month's not through, but this is the sort of breakout that can get an extension and just keep going. That's how you can drill down on these sectors using the stock monitor tool here at TA Today. I'm sure there's other tools and other places that will give you something that's somewhat similar to this, other ways of getting at this. This is the way we've designed it. Makes it easy to do. And of course, to finish it up here, you don't want to do this unless the market is rewarding breakouts, and it's starting to do that right now. And so, as long as it does it, then you can look at these. Otherwise, you'd want to look at retraces. And again, we can talk about that on another tape. Next time, what we're going to do is we're going to use the tools to scan for the best of the best. In other words, I just went through and said, what is the best trade in the stocks? And I did that by pulling up our stock monitor and filtering it to the stocks itself and saying, give me any kind of signal that's broken out that's either a bearish or bullish breakout or a retrace or a potential one. And it will give me all of those, right? And then I can filter the time frame, etc. What's the way to get the best of the best? Next time we'll look at that. Have a great one. Stay safe. I'll see you next time. And if you like what you see, please hit the subscribe and like buttons.